again and welcome to AR77. Today we have another guide for your attention. This is probably for people who are new to air pistols or people who are thinking about getting an air pistol and you decided you want a pellet pistol perhaps, but you're not sure which way to go, or you're just interested in different methods used for housing the pellets or how to load your ammunition, pros and cons. Maybe you are still not sure whether you want a pellet pistol or a BB pistol, so this will hopefully provide a bit of a useful comparison. I will just point out at this point, I'm not talking about kind of spring-loaded pistols. I'll get that out eventually. The single shot kind of pistols or the single shot kind of target pellet pistols. This is predominantly about the replica pistols and the type of method used to load the pellets in. So without further ado, let's jump in and have a look. Again, there might be nothing in this video for people who are already familiar with these, but for somebody who's not been in the game for very long, or somebody who's new to pellet pistols, there might be something here of interest. So this is a pretty standard bit of kit for a lot of pellet pistols. A lot of the Umarex pellet pistols and other manufacturers as well use these kind of revolver style magazines, or magazines I guess you'd call it, for a lot of their pistols. These ones hold 8. There are some that hold more. I think you can get 12 in some. I have a rifle that takes 12, but it's the same basic method. It's a revolver cylinder at the end of the day. And the way that works is you take your pellets. Let's open a tin of pellets up here for you. So you get your tin of pellets, and you just take a pellet out and drop it in. So you take one out and drop it in that way and push it in, seat it home, and there you go. You do that 8 times and you're ready to go. So let me show you how that works with the pistol itself. So these are from, as I said, a number of Umarex pistols use these. There's the CP 88, the CP 99, I think there's what's the other one? It will come to me, PPQ, I think uses these. There's a 1911 that has these as well, but this is from my Beretta 92FS. Really nice pistol actually. A lot of fun to shoot that, and that slides forward, so that would normally be your kind of takedown lever, but in this case it slides the slide forward. It releases the slide and it goes forward like that, leaving the internals open. And you take one of these magazines with, you put 8 in it. I tend to use woodcutters or the flat-headed pellets, just because they don't protrude and you're pretty safe from that point of view. They don't protrude out of the front and you get a better result. It's also better when they hit the target. They leave a nice, decent sized round hole, and you can see where they've been. Some of the ones that are pointed don't handle these sort of magazines very well, and they kind of leave a bit of it's a smaller hole. It's a less obvious hole. So from a distance, it's easier to see the hole that's left by these sort of woodcutter pellets. Let me show you one of those just a bit closer, if I can. There you go. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So anyway, yeah, you get your pistol here, and you get your magazine, and you see it's kind of ridged at this end here, and you can see that kind of it's going to catch on those cogs at the back. You just drop that in. I can't see what I'm doing. You drop that in there. Of course, it went down the back of the table. With you in a second.
We have all the time in the world.
Hello again. We're back after 6 hours of searching for this bad boy. So yeah, it just drops in there, just like that. Yeah, and then you can slide that, and it locks it in place. And it does all the work for you. Just locks it in place there. Shoot that 8 times till you've spent your magazine. Now this slide obviously isn't going to lock back. It's a non-movable slide in terms of when you shoot. You know, the slide only moves to load it, so it's not going to lock back. So it's important to count your shots so that you know when you've fired 8. And there's a kind of a notable, other than, you know, if you're shooting at a steel target or something like that, you're going to hear it every time you hit it. If you are quite close range and shooting at a piece of paper, you're going to see every time you've hit the target, assuming you're hitting the target every time. Other than that, count your shots, but you will get a noticeable difference in the sort of the quality of sound that you hear when the gun fires. It does sound slightly different when you are shooting and nothing comes out of the front of the pistol other than CO2. So there you go. That's how you load those in. When you release that, do what I just did there and keep your hand behind it, because they do drop out, as you saw. They can drop all over the place, those. So that's the first method out of the way, the kind of revolver style magazine. Next we come to kind of the evolution of that, really, and that is the stick revolver magazine. So similar to the previous one that we saw, we have this. It's the same kind of thing. You put your pellets in that way. A nice little diagram there showing you that you take your pellet and you pop it in like that, ready to fire that way. And you have 8 there at the top of the magazine. But you can also spin that round once it's spent, and you've got another 8 there. So that will hold 16 pellets, as opposed to the 8 that you'd get in the more traditional cylinder. So obviously that's useful if you're having a bit of fun, and you know, shooting 8 doesn't take a long time. So unless you've got, I mean, I recommend buying a lot of these. I say a lot, a few. I think I have 4 per pistol, but obviously you can use these in any of those with similar systems. But I think I've probably got 16 of these. I think they come in packs of 2 or 3, so it's worth getting a few of those. But that is worth 2 of those, isn't it? You know, obviously they don't work in the same pistols, but you've got 16 in there. So that's from a SIG. That's from the SIG P226. And the other thing about these is you get the benefit of being able to. Where's the hole? Oh, there's one in. There's already a magazine in the pistol. Take that one out. So yeah, the benefit of these is you get the pleasure of actually putting the magazine in your pistol, and then when you've fired off your 8 rounds, you release that, sprung loaded in this particular pistol. Find that, stick it back in, and you're ready to go for another 8. So it just gives you a bit more shooting time while you're out and about. But likewise, you know, as with these, I would recommend getting a couple of spares of these, because even 16 do go quickly. Now, I say that, and I'm aware, you know, how it sometimes looks on videos that people see on YouTube. It's great if you can get more of these. It's great if you can get more of these. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to have loads of magazines. You don't need to have all of that gubbins. You know, it's it does mount up. The money does mount up, and unless you can afford to do that, you can still have loads of fun with an air pistol. You know, there's something to be said for the pleasure of taking that out, having a bit of a break, loading it up, putting it back in, going back to your shooting. You know, so don't worry about that. There's no pressure to get loads of these magazines. Manufacturers will be cursing me now. I don't think they're aware I even exist, to be fair, so don't worry about that. But yeah, you know, if you can, yeah, get a couple, but don't worry about it too much. You know, with whatever comes with the pistol, you'll be fine, I'm sure. The other thing is, of course, you know, whilst you're reloading your magazine, your CO2 is getting a chance to warm back up to room temperature, which means you're going to get more power and therefore perhaps more accuracy from that next few shots. So, swings and roundabouts, pros and cons and all that. Anyway, revolver, that's still a revolver as well, really. It's just that you've got one at each end. There are various versions of these. I know there's a 1911 that comes with a very short one, and you can spin the top of it. You spin the top round, so that and that are kind of closer together, and you just spin it round and it works that way. But it's the same sort of method, really. Okay, let's take these off the table, and let's look at the next evolution, if you will, or certainly what SIG decided to do when they came to making the P320, I think it was. They sort of started to move on to what you might call a belt-fed system. I say that, I think they first used it in their CO2 kind of rifles. I forget what they're called. They're like MPX or CRX or something like that. But anyway, I don't have those, and I'm not as familiar with them. But there's a couple of rifles that they brought out that use a belt-fed system, as does the P320 pistol, as does my rather lovely SIG X5 that uses this magazine, and it's what you call belt-fed. What do we mean by belt-fed for the uninitiated? Well, if I open that up, you can see that's how your pistols go into there. So it's just the same, how your pellets go into there. It is a belt. Yeah, it's like more like a bicycle chain almost. Yeah, that feeds round, and because of that system, it doesn't take up an awful lot of space, and because of that, you can fit in this one 20 rounds in there. So again, you've upped your round count by 4 from this mag, which is 16, to this, which is 20. I think the P320 holds 30 or something ridiculous like that, but I think they possibly have issues getting jammed on the way around. I don't know. I don't own a 320 yet. I dare say I will get one because I am a big SIG fan. But anyway, 20 rounds, and that's that's good. There's not a lot of pistols that don't have an extended magazine that would hold 20 rounds. So you're getting like for like, or closer to what you'd get from an actual pistol. So that's good. That's good. It's a good round count. And again, once that's fired all 20 while you're reloading it, it's dead easy. You just stick it in there, and your CO2 has got a chance to warm back up again. Everything housed nicely in there. Very nice. And just very briefly, while I have you, let's move the pellets out of the way. We have another version of that. This is the M17 pistol by Sig Sauer once again, and this has the same kind of system really, but very different magazine. This magazine carries the CO2 in it. For the X5, CO2 goes in the back there. Yeah, but I just thought I'd show you this. With the M17, it has this is a very unique magazine. I've not seen this on any other pistol. Your CO2 goes in there, and you have this kind of magazine. The actual ammunition kind of magazine is here, and you press this button, and it releases it. But once you've done that, you can see it's the same system. Yeah, can we get those a bit closer? It's the same kind of deal. Yeah, you can see how similar that is. So this is the one from the M17. You open that, you've got 20 rounds in there. Yeah, just like on the X5, you've got your 20 rounds there. So this is a longer magazine. This is a shorter one, just because it's housed within the rest of it here. Yeah, so if you see that, you might go, "Oh, that looks a lot more complicated than just that." It's not really. It's not at all. Yeah, but that's kind of another take on the same kind of thing. So that's the M17. Put that off to one side, and the SIG X5, really nice pistol that. Oh no, not that over. And that just has us in there like that. Very nice. Which brings me to this little fella here, and this is another way that you're going to see on more kind of replica revolvers, like the one I have here. This is my what's it called? S25. This is my Umrex S25. A snub nose revolver, you could say. Another lovely pistol, covered in fingerprints, because it's a favourite and it gets used quite a lot. But yeah, let me just show you how this works. So for this sort of thing, you get your shell casing there, and your pellet just goes in the rear of it there. Some of the earlier pellet shooting revolvers had the end that would unscrew. You put your pellet in the end and then screw it back on. But I think these are better because once it's in the pistol, let's show you on camera. Once that's in there, you don't actually have to take out the shells. Really, you can just fire 6 off, leave your shells in, and reload them. Again, there are some pellet shooting revolvers that have a kind of a clip, like an 8, a round of 8. I think the Winchester, which is built on the same sort of frame as this, it's the same shape of gun, other than it's the 4-inch barrel. But the Winchester, I think, is a pellet shooter, and it has a clip of 8, I think, that you just sit on there. It doesn't have the shells. But yeah, for these shells, you just put your pellet in the end there, and close that up. The benefit of that, of course, as opposed to the kind of front-loading shells that come on the earlier Dan Wesson models, which again is exactly the same frame, really, they kind of shot out of the front there. The benefit of the ones that shoot out of the back is you get a little bit, almost twice the length of the barrel again. So that's going to help with a bit of accuracy, I would have thought. And I think that's it, really. There you go, a few different ways that you can load up your pistols with your pellets and have a lot of fun while out there shooting. I hope you found the video enjoyable and informative. As always, please hit the like button, please subscribe, share, comment, talk to me. Yeah, enjoy. Take care, all the best, stay safe, bye.